everyone, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today we are doing some insulating in the attic to save heat, to save our heating oil. This is a oil heat house, and recently we insulated the chimney because it was so cold up here. We were still getting heat loss, so we were getting condensation. We decided to take it a step further and add another layer. This is R19, it's 6 1/4 inches thick, and we have beefed it up. We're adding a layer of R30, so we're going to be at R49 in these hard Michigan winters. We're in central Michigan. It is not terrible. We've been having a cold winter. We've been dodging the super depths of snow that everyone else has been getting, and it's a good time to do this. So last winter in this house, we noticed these walk-in closets are really cold, and there's not much we can do about insulating this area here at this point. The house has had blown-in insulation much earlier than when we owned the house, and we found this area was really cold here, and we noticed in heavy snow there was no snow on the roof in that section. So we cut this wall right open. We re-insulated it all the way up, all the sides, and it's much less drafty and cold in here than it was. That's one of the things that people don't like about having an older home is the draftiness and the cold. And the age of this house, 1914. So we're at like 110, 111 years. This is the opposite walk-in of that attic. So above that staircase that I just went through, same situation. So that's all warmer than it was. Let me show you the walk-in attic. So the other room, this door had been removed, and we're thinking of replacing it and putting it back in there because you've got a walk-in attic on the child's size room. Find the switch here. There we go. Now we had insulated this. This had nothing with R13 a long time ago. So this is going to be getting bumped up as well. It's good for walls. If you notice here, all the walls are on 16s, and these are, I think it's called 24. So your insulation is 23 and your insulation here is 15. But we'd actually lost a roof vent before we roofed 2 years ago. And this roof vent was open and a raccoon got in here. So we're going to remove all this and just go ahead and do it with the R30. It's had blown-in insulation in the floor. That's what these plugs are for. The whole time we owned the house, you could just see the blown-in insulation underneath. So we got a wood dowel and made plugs for it. There was work here done for electrical, and you could see the blown-in insulation there, and you can see the plugs on the outside of the house. So we just wanted to make sure that we button this up a lot warmer than it is, and we're going to be reducing the amount of gallons that this house will use in heating oil. This is where we probably had the most heat loss previously because this area here wasn't insulated. So when he insulated that, it made a big difference. And then we only had that lower R13 insulation or R19 here.
Feet. These are 22 feet. And we're using 13 each time, so we'll have 5 or a bunch of 9-footers to put up there right now until we buy more.
So what he's been doing is he's just cutting off his full section is what he was explaining. And then everything from the end of the roll, he's just been piling up here so that he can get it done quickly instead of piecing and piecing and piecing. Use all the pieces at the end. So for a day job, we're hauling it with the car, so it's going to be a 2-day job for us because we didn't want to make 2 trips to pick it up in one day. Picked up 5 rolls today and 5 rolls tomorrow, or 6, and then we'll be done. So just so you know, he's cutting on a board, not cutting on directly on the wood floor. Protect your cutting surface. Don't cause damage. So you can see how much thicker this is. What was the thickness on this? Did you look?
It ends up being 10 inches, but it takes a few minutes because it's compressed. So they compress all the air out of it to roll it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's already 10 right there. So it takes just a minute, and then see how little it is right here?
Yeah.
That's a whole roll right there. That like 1 inch right there ends up being 10, so that's all full of air.
So with blown-in insulation, the reason we didn't do that is this house originally had blown-in insulation up in the attic, and it had settled so much that it was very thin, a couple of inches thick. So over time with that settling, whatever R value thought you had, maybe you didn't because of, you know, air pockets.
We took it out to wire the house, and I didn't like it, so I like this stuff.
So if you're going to do this, on like the walls where we bought ours, it'll say if it's for walls, floors, attics, and the unfaced is for attics. It is a really good idea to pay attention to that, because you don't need to pay extra money for the craft facing or the stapling surface. This was about $42.99 a roll, where we're cutting it ourselves. That's why I was saying about like these the ends of his rolls that he's using. If you just bought bats were $58, so $16 more a package, and I believe it was slightly less square footage also. So you're paying you know, for the packaging and for them cutting and all that. So for us, it's worth the labor to do this, to save that money. So we ran the heat at about 50 degrees last night in the house with nobody here. The door's closed to these upstairs rooms. This has a plaster ceiling over this grid tile system. It's just right up against it. There's no airspace in between. And I showed you that walk-in attic is on the other side of this wall. You can see here this opening that has been closed off. There used to be a doorway here. So you're not getting some of that colder attic air in this room. But there's a huge temperature difference between that front room and the back bedroom. So closets both the same on that side. And this has the door for that attic space with a slight air gap underneath. It's probably a half an inch, but you know, cold air drops. So we're losing heat up above and we're getting some cold draft from that closet. I would guess it is probably close to a 10-degree difference between that front room today and this back room. And we are in the 20-ish degree temperature range. The last couple of days it's been staying steady that way, down into the low teens during the night. So this is going to make a huge difference in insulating and keeping warm and not having that heat loss and extra fuel usage because of that heat loss. Now, when we were driving home, I thought of something also. Mostly electric companies, if you are a gas customer, sometimes the electric company will do it even if you're not a gas customer, because some people have electric heat. You are doing energy efficiency improvements on your home, and there are tax credits to be gained from that. So check with your electric companies that you are a customer of, because for us, we can file their rebate individually with this. Sometimes you have to wait if they don't have it on your actual individual income tax returns to be able to claim these energy efficiency credits. So keep that in mind. So at like $42.99 a roll, I think is what we paid. So we're at 10 rolls, $420. We are gaining that efficiency, and then you get the rebate on top of that also. So we are all complete. It went a lot faster today because I didn't have another job to do. So I was the cutter and the delivery guy so that he wouldn't have to go up and down the ladder. And we've got 2 thick layers here. And the whole house is much warmer. We've got a little bit of leftovers. This can get saved and used in another project. I downloaded a thermometer app, and this room was reading at 52 degrees and 61 degrees in the room on the other side. So that's quite a difference. So now we're gonna get all balanced out and even, and it'll be a nice cozy room, because you can see this is the smaller room of the 2. So it's kind of a kid's room, and you want it as warm and comfy as possible so that those little kids will sleep all night long and be nice and cozy. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.